day everyone, welcome to Pilar and Friends. We hope you will stay with us so we will all get the feel of what a survivor's experience is like. Today, our episode is called Survivor for a reason. The word survivor denotes something tragic has occurred. This depicts someone blessed to have survived the tragedy, a traumatic experience, an accident, and yes, to be more apt about it, a crisis such as we have never in our wildest imagination that we could ever have imagined. And yet, here we are, amidst this COVID crisis which certainly has not reached its end. Many of us are fervently praying to God to shield us, to protect us, and our homes, our families, and our friends too, from the invisible enemy. Each day, despite all the negative circumstances surrounding us, we have God to thank for, to be our constant strength, our light in this darkened path of our existence. Today, we have Dr. Emil Jaca, who has survived the clutches of this virus, and to this day lives and now tells us the tale of how it was for him. Friends, let's welcome Dr. Emil Jaca.
Hello, Miss Pilar. Good day to all your viewers, and thank you for inviting me to your program.
Thank you, Dr. Emil, for accepting our invitation. But tell us what it was like. How did it happen?
Well, I've actually been saying from the very beginning that for as long as people continuously go out of the house, there really is that automatic risk of us getting exposed. So when we went out for errands, that's how we got exposed. Despite the precautions we have made, it really is very important to note that when we go out, there's already that risk of exposure.
Where were you infected?
Well, I really couldn't say because people from the house were actually going out on certain errands. But the last thing that I could remember before getting sick was a run to the grocery, and perhaps could have been the source of my infection. But then again, it's still really hard to just trace and pinpoint which one of those.
How did you feel when you found out you were infected?
Well, for me, it was only a matter of time. The fact that people continuously go out, it was just a matter of time. While I personally didn't go out much, I knew that it was just a matter of time. So when I started to have the symptoms, when I started to feel sick, we eventually got to talk to our doctor and had ourselves tested. And when we found out, it came as no surprise, but I was worried for the safety of my family.
Whom did you tell? Who knew about your diagnosis?
Well, when I got sick on the second day, we were together with family, and my dad insisted that we get a consult with an infectious disease specialist, which we did. So basically, the whole family, my immediate family, already knew about it. And it was almost automatic to let them know when the diagnosis or the confirmation came out. So yeah, it was family.
How did your family react? Did you try to keep it to yourself?
Well, my family was very worried about the situation, especially thinking if all the kids were also infected. Thankfully, they were not. With this, it was already known to the family, and we had to think about the next steps on what to do, especially that the disease is really serious. So I did not keep it to myself. My wife and my family already knew about it.
What were the steps you took? Were they medically supervised?
On the second day of being sick, we already coordinated with the infectious disease consultant. She has guided us through, despite me being a medical doctor. So I couldn't just allow myself to be treating myself. And up to the 7th day where I was admitted, we also informed the barangay so that people will be aware and of course will be safe. And we did the necessary precautions in the family and at home.
Were you obedient to doctor's orders?
Definitely. I was obedient to myself as a doctor myself. And of course, I was obedient to the infectious disease consultant who was taking care of us. As a matter of fact, we would constantly communicate within the day to relay my condition, and she would also relay what I should be doing. So yes, we ought to follow our doctor's advices.
The intubation. What exactly were your thoughts when this was done to you? This is a serious matter, and yet here you are now, and certainly for a reason. Why do you think you were made to survive?
My thoughts when I was intubated, well, I thought that I would not make it. I thought that I would have lost my life then. I thought about my family, especially my kids growing up without me, how my wife could go on carrying the future of my kids, our kids. I was really scared and I was really desperate, not knowing what would happen, especially that medically anything can happen. So being able to survive now, it is within me to actually help in the best way that I can, to help educate people about this disease and how to live with it. Because after all, this disease is here to stay, and we just ought to know how to take care of ourselves so that all the conditions that I have felt may be prevented, and hopefully many will end up surviving instead of losing their lives.
In the brink of that point between life and death, I think it is here where God puts down the gavel and decides whether He will take us home if our earthly purpose has been fulfilled, or He allows us to have a new lease on life. And the latter had been with Doc Emil's reward. Friends, we hope you were inspired as we are with the experience of Dr. Emil Jaca. Remember, there's always a reason why events happen in our lives. And let us be sensitive to these messages. Have a great week ahead of you. See you next week.